Love is often described as a fortress. For me in Prague, it became a cage, then a field of ruins. My husband, Michael, excelled in the art of illusion. What he considered discretion, I eventually called betrayal. This story is about my downfall and my reconstruction, where the truth, sharpened like a shard of glass, was my only weapon. If you find this captivating story, join our community and be one of the first to discover our stories. Prague, the city of 100 spires, seemed the perfect setting for the end. It was our 12th wedding anniversary, and Michael, with his keen sense of showmanship, had insisted on a European getaway. He had chosen a sumptuous suite in an Art Nouveau hotel, offering a breathtaking view of the castle. Ironiquement, plus la façade était belle, plus la fissure intérieure était béante. I stood alone on the Charles Bridge under an October sky that was crystalline but deceptively blue. The air, freezing and dry, bit at my cheeks, but the deepest bite came from within. I replayed the dinner from 48 hours ago, in that restaurant with bohemian chandeliers where every dish tasted like ashes. Michael, usually so talkative and master of ceremonies of our social life, was strangely silent. He checked his phone under the table every 5 minutes, shielding his screen with a nonchalance that wasn't his. "Are you here, Michael? Truly here?" I had asked, my voice so low I could barely hear myself over the chamber music. He had looked up, a flash of annoyance veiling his too perfect smile. "Of course, darling. Just an important file I need to handle before Monday. You know how demanding my new project is." I pretended to believe him, pushing back the instinct that had been knotting my stomach for months. The next day, he rushed everything. Less than 48 hours after our arrival, Michael placed his suitcases next to the bed, adjusted his tie in the Empire mirror, and told me he was leaving. "It's over, Elizabeth. I'm not coming back." It wasn't the words that devastated me so much as the tone. He spoke as if announcing a subscription change or a flight cancellation. He had already checked the box on our life together. The abandonment wasn't a simple departure. It was an act of supreme cowardice, of dizzying selfishness. He left me stranded in a foreign country, whose language I barely spoke, with the return tickets he would never use, and an anxiety that rose in me like a black tide. I felt isolated, my heart pounding, overwhelmed by the vertigo of betrayal amidst the unknown. I remembered the hours that followed. The luxury of the suite turned into a sarcophagus. I panicked. I begged, my dignity collapsing word by word onto the expensive parquet floor. "But why, Michael? What made you change?" He minimized my feelings, accused me of being dramatic and of always dramatizing our problems. "I told you I'm in love with someone else. It's simple. It's Chloe. Stop making a scene, Elizabeth. You'll find someone." He left with the speed of a thief, eager to reach the secret apartment and the arm of his mistress Chloe, as if the time wasted in Prague was an offense to his new happiness. For nearly an hour I remained motionless on the undone bed, Michael's scent still faintly lingering in the air, a mocking relic. The implosion he expected, the hysterical call, the endless tears, never came. Instead, a deafening silence settled, and in that vacuum something hard crystallized within me. Panic gave way to a cold, sharp clarity. Like the broken glass I was picking up in my memory, I walked out, wrapped in my coat, and headed toward the Charles Bridge, searching for an anchor in that city of stone. I walked among the silent statues of the saints, stone figures, indifferent to my pain. The dark waters of the Vltava River carried the city's reflections, indifferent as well. It was there, facing the dark mass of the castle, that the grief mutated. I realized I wasn't mourning our life. I was mourning the woman I had become because of him, a woman who had tolerated subtle lies, who had minimized doubts out of fear of confrontation. A small, frightened woman. Michael thought I would collapse. I was going to rebuild something, yes, but with the ruins he had left me, and that reconstruction would not be gentle. The goal was now clear. Not emotional vengeance, but factual justice. I didn't waste another minute at the hotel. I paid the bill, ignored the polite questions of the concierge, and took a taxi to the airport. I left the return tickets he would never use on the nightstand, carefully folded, like an epitaph. The flight to Paris was a study in control. I sat in the cramped seat, my headphones blocking the sound of the jet engine. Every vibration of the plane seemed to sharpen my mind. I reviewed 12 years of marriage through that cold prism. The unexplained absences, the overly detailed explanations, and those strange small moments of intimacy where I had felt his phone trained on me, under the pretense of a call or a message. I had always dismissed those uncomfortable feelings, attributing them to my own paranoia. Back in our Parisian apartment, empty and silent, I didn't touch the marital bedsheets. The odor of betrayal was too strong. I took a cold shower, drank black coffee, and focused on my mission. Michael was orderly, arrogant, and therefore predictable. He had always believed technology was exclusively at his service. I knew where to look. Our lives were managed by a family iPad, carelessly left in the desk drawer. Michael used it for bills, but never for his secret affairs. He was too self-assured to think I would look there. I picked up the tablet, the cold, smooth metal under my fingers. The password was Michael's birthday, but with the year we met, a detail he would never have given Chloe. The screen lit up, casting a harsh light on my face. That's where I found the hidden digital drawer. The man loved concealment, the art of playing the respectable family man by day and the passionate lover by night. I knew he used an encoded directory somewhere deep in the file structure. After a few attempts, I found an image encryption app disguised as a financial calculator. The code, a simple reversal of my birth date, was a final slap in the face to our intimacy. I let out a sharp sigh, not of pain, but of disgust. The door to the secret sanctuary opened. In an encrypted folder, innocently labeled Q3 Project Reports, lay a secret gallery. There were dozens, maybe hundreds of files. I didn't have to search long to recognize the horror. I started with my own images, desk photos of me taken while I slept, my face relaxed, vulnerable. Then the videos, brief videos, videos of me without my consent, while I was washing my hair in the shower, the phone hidden behind a stack of towels, the light filtered. The music suddenly cut, the phone aimed, my husband denying the obvious. I remembered those precise moments, that unease I had swept under the rug of marriage. Each clip was a knife. He hadn't just stolen my affection, he had stolen my intimacy and my image. I was flattered that he found me attractive, but not to the point of being an object filmed without my knowledge, a trophy in his hidden album. Betrayal fed on details, and Michael had gorged himself. I could have stopped there. The disgust was enough for my divorce. But my trembling hand slid across the screen and something else appeared. Videos of Chloe, the mistress, the same furtive angles, the same stolen intimacy, the same bathroom, but different tiling, different shower products, the same absolute violation of privacy. He had filmed Chloe in similar situations, the shower, moments of vulnerability where she thought she was alone with her lover. My body stiffened. Chloe wasn't an emotional rival. She wasn't some sincere great love. She was just another conquest, another woman whose trust had been broken for Michael's secret, selfish pleasure. Chloe was a victim, just like me. At that moment, my anger transformed into a plan of clinical elegance. I no longer wanted revenge on Chloe. I wanted Chloe to see the true face of the monster she idolized. I wanted Michael to find himself alone, rejected by both women in his life, his narcissism shattered by his own pathology. My vengeance would not be emotional. It would be surgical. I spent an hour downloading the evidence, meticulously sorting the files. I didn't copy everything, just enough clips to prove the habit, Michael's sickness of concealment. I separated mine from Chloe's and mixed them onto an anonymous USB drive, a small, gray, banal object bought at an airport convenience store, unmarked, without personality. I added no note, no comment. The truth had to speak for itself, without the filter of a jealous ex-wife. My first step was legal. I called a family law specialist, Maître Lenoir. I made sure he understood the explosive nature of the evidence. Maître, I don't want a war. I want him to understand that he has already lost before he even begins. These elements are damning, madam, not only for the fault, but for the potentially criminal nature of the invasion of privacy. He will be defenseless. The legal validation reinforced my determination. I had the law on my side, but I wanted a justice more immediate, more personal than the slowness of the courts. Next, the delivery execution. I sent the USB drive via express courier to Chloe's address, the secret apartment Michael had gone to. I had found this address in Michael's hotel bills, a detail he had forgotten to delete from the cloud. The sender was simply an old friend. I checked the scheduled delivery time. Michael would likely arrive before the package or just after he settled in. He would be euphoric, relieved to have escaped the responsibility of Prague, certain to find comfort and adoration with Chloe. The wait was the poison I reserved for him. I spent the following hours preparing my own future, not waiting for the drama, but building. I changed all the locks on the house, the former home I would now inhabit alone. The clicking sound of the new locks was the most satisfying noise I had heard in months. I ordered new furniture, planned to repaint Michael's office a soothing blue. The clarity I had gained was a form of anticipated peace. Meanwhile, Michael landed in Paris, a triumphant smile on his lips. He had handled the departure from Prague with an efficiency he found impressive. He had minimized my drama, feeling morally superior. For him, infidelity was merely a man's right, my reaction, predictable feminine hysteria. He was already imagining the next steps. A quick divorce, the fault resting on him, certainly, but the reward being Chloe, young, beautiful, and devoted. He arrived at Chloe's building, feeling light. He imagined walking in, finding Chloe half-dressed, a glass of wine in hand, ready to celebrate their new freedom. He entered with his code. The apartment was silent. Light-hearted and ego-inflated, he expected a glass of wine, a passionate embrace, the tacit blessing of his new life. Instead, he found a cardboard box, carefully sealed, placed on the glass coffee table. Inside, his clothes, his laptop, his books, his entire life thrown into a box, as if he had been demoted, sent back by a mail service. Chloe was there, sitting in the armchair, pale, dark circles under her eyes. Her look wasn't that of a woman betrayed by a jealous wife. It was the look of a woman disgusted, in the same way one is disgusted by an insect. The atmosphere of the apartment, usually so warm, was toxic. "What is this, Chloe?" he asked, his voice trembling. Reality had just struck him hard. "Your things, Michael." "What? But why? Did Elizabeth contact you? Did she blackmail you?" She shook her head, a bitter laugh escaping her. A dry, joyless laugh. "Elizabeth didn't talk to me about you, Michael. She didn't threaten me. She talked to me about us," she said, pointing to the USB drive plugged into her large TV screen. On the screen, a frozen image showed Michael in the gloom, phone in hand, filming the inside of a bathroom. It wasn't the face of a lover, but that of a sneaky predator. The blood drained from Michael's face. He looked at the gray, commonplace casing lying on the furniture. He tried to deny, to get angry. "It's manipulation, Chloe, an attack by Elizabeth. She's setting all this up. She's crazy, I'm telling you." Chloe didn't take her eyes off him. "I watched it, Michael, all of it. I saw the videos. I recognized the tiling. All those times you said the music cut out because of Bluetooth. All those times I thought you were so obsessed with me." She stopped. Not from grief, but from pure horror. "I didn't understand why I was being filmed. It was awkward, but I put it down to your excessive love. And then I realized. I saw the others. I saw Elizabeth's filmed showers, and a third woman's, whom I don't know." That last detail was the tip of the arrow. Michael had a system, an addiction, and Chloe was just another entry in his gallery. His infidelity wasn't a romantic choice, but the manifestation of a pathological and invasive behavior. The true face of Michael, the husband and the lover, was exposed. There was no facade left, just a naked, unmasked man. "You have no respect for intimacy, Michael. You have no respect for anyone. You didn't love me. You loved the fact that I didn't know I was your object." Chloe's voice trembled with cold, controlled fury. "Elizabeth showed me your true self, and what I see is that you are a monster." Michael made one last attempt to defend himself, to beg. "But I love you, Chloe. Don't let Elizabeth win." "Win what, Michael? Dignity? She already won. She made me open my eyes to your sickness. My biggest regret is having shown you Michael's true face." Chloe whispered to him in a final act of disdain, using the same words he had used in Prague. "You are no better than him." There was no pleading, no excuse. Michael grabbed his cardboard box, the feeling that his life had just been reduced to a package of abandoned objects. He left the apartment, rejected by his wife, then abandoned by his mistress. He was alone and broken, not by the grief of lost love, but by exposed guilt. He didn't even have the refuge of shame anymore, only solitude. The divorce process was a cruel formality, orchestrated by the formidable efficiency of Maître Lenoir and the irrefutable evidence I provided. Michael tried to assert a defense, to deny the existence of the videos, but I had kept an encrypted copy with my lawyer and had it notarized. Michael tried to negotiate the sale of the Parisian apartment to claim a share of the family patrimony, but armed with the evidence of his actions, I demanded compensation that made any resistance futile. I had turned humiliation into legal leverage. He couldn't afford to fight without risking professional scandal and public humiliation. He signed the papers. A few months later, the divorce was granted in my favor. Chloe and I never became friends, but we recognized each other as survivors of the hypocrisy of the same man. We exchanged a polite email, a simple message of thanks from Chloe, which I read and immediately deleted. It was the end of an unnatural alliance, sealed by the truth. Michael requested a transfer to the south of France, far from Paris, far from the cities where people could still remember his face and the whispered scandals. He now worked in anonymity, the prestige of his former title having been eroded by rumors. As for me, I sat in the living room, repainted in a soothing blue and now mine, watching the sunset over Paris. I held a glass of wine, alone, but not lonely. I had rebuilt something, not a marriage, but myself, with a new clarity. I no longer felt small or frightened. Clarity, sometimes, is a form of peace. If you want more stories about hidden truths, join our community by subscribing.